It's a medical malpractice trial. We're about ready to make opening arguments, and now the judge turns to me and says, Mr. Oginski, is the jury acceptable? I jump up and I say, yes, Your Honor, the jury is acceptable. The judge then turns to my opponent and says, defense counselor, is the jury acceptable? He jumps up and says, Your Honor, the jury is not acceptable. What? What do you mean the jury's not acceptable? What happens then? You want to know the answer? Come join me for a moment as I share with you some great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. So now, at the very beginning of the trial, the judge asks the attorneys as a formality, in open court, in the courtroom, the jury is sitting there waiting, eagerly anticipating the start of this trial. Now they're waiting. The judge is about ready to give the jury preliminary instructions on what's going to happen during the course of this trial. But as a matter of formality, the judge turns to us, to the attorneys, and says, hey guys, is the jury acceptable? We just spent the last day and a half selecting a jury, people in the community who have told us that they can be fair and impartial. And now, if there were any legal issues associated with picking this jury, picking these 6 members of the community and additional jurors known as alternate jurors, then we have an obligation to notify the court immediately so that the court can address them, and now we can figure out what to do next. But now my adversary turns around and says, no, they're not acceptable. So the judge immediately calls us both up to the bench, puts his hand over the microphone and says, what's the problem here, defense lawyer? And now the defense lawyer is trying to give the judge some cockamamie excuse as to why there's a problem with the jury. And now he realizes that there could be a legal issue here. What does he say? He says, Judge, Mr. Oginski has excluded all members of a particular race, ethnicity, on this jury. I demand that we address this issue. I'm amazed. What do you mean I excluded all people from a certain race? That's not proper, and I didn't do it. So now the judge realizes that there may be a significant issue here. He tells the court officer, take the jury out of the courtroom. Once the jury has left the courtroom, the judge then turns to the defense lawyer and says, Counselor, state your legal argument about why you believe the jury is not acceptable. So now he gets up and he says, Your Honor, during the course of jury selection, Mr. Oginski, the plaintiff's attorney, has prevented anybody who has an Indian background from serving as a juror on this case. He has specifically removed 3 different people and used his challenges, his opportunities to remove people without explaining why he took them off, known as peremptory challenges. And it's obvious that my client, the defense, the doctor being sued in this case, is of Indian descent. And therefore, because he has prevented any other Indians from participating as jurors, now I'm at a significant disadvantage. Now this piques the judge's interest. The judge turns to me and says, Mr. Oginski, what do you have to say about that? Well, luckily, I keep good notes. And now I pull out my notes from yesterday during jury selection, and I'm looking to see exactly which jurors he's talking about. And I do see that these 3 people I did in fact excuse. I used my peremptory challenges. You should know that each attorney has an opportunity to take off 3 jurors whom they do not like. We don't have to give any specific reason why we're taking off those people. So now I'm looking at each of those 3 people that he claims I took off improperly. And I'm looking at them and I have specific notes. The first one I did not like. Why? Because I didn't like the type of work he did. That's why I excused him. The second one, there was something that he said. Oh, I know what it was. The second one had a family member who had brought a lawsuit and lost at trial. I didn't like that. The third one, I didn't like the way the guy looked at me. Once the defense attorney has raised this issue, now I have to provide a basic explanation to the court to explain why I took a particular juror off to show that I did not do it for the basis of race or ethnicity. And that's it. So now, after the judge has heard my explanation and has seen my notes, and now he's heard the defense's explanation, you know what he says? He says, Counselor, step back. I've decided. So now we step back and he says, it is the opinion of this court that after listening to legal argument from both the plaintiff's counsel and defense counsel, I find that the defense's argument has no merit whatsoever. He then goes on to say, I find that the defense lawyer's failure to address this issue yesterday before jury selection finished waived this lawyer's right to bring up this issue now. And besides, he says, there is no evidence whatsoever to indicate that I, plaintiff's attorney, went ahead and removed those jurors based upon race or ethnicity. Now he tells the court officer, bring the jury back in. He brings them back in, and then he apologizes to the jury. Why? Number one, for keeping them waiting. Number two, for the fact that the defense lawyer basically dissed the jurors when he said, no, the jury is not acceptable. And then in front of the jury, he tells them, he said, listen, I've spoken with the attorneys, and it is the opinion of this court that the jury is acceptable, and now we're getting started with trial. So why do I share this quick information with you? I share it with you just to give you an insight and an understanding into what goes on in these medical malpractice cases, these accident cases, and even these wrongful death cases that go to trial here in New York. You know, I understand you're watching this video because you have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter happened here in New York and you're thinking about bringing a lawsuit but haven't done so yet because you still have questions that need answers, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, this is something I do every single day, and I'd love to talk to you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.